Don't look now, Illini fans, but Brad Underwood said another potential key contributor to next year's basketball team might be injured.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to a breaking news edition of Locked On Illini. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned later in the episode for highlights and this week's Moving the Game Forward, Mazda, Move and Be Moved. My name is Sonny Verma, joining you on this early Thursday morning. Your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily, every single day. Some days one episode, some days like today, you're going to have two episodes. And why is that? Well, we have some breaking news that occurred on Wednesday evening. I'm going to make sure I get the details exactly right for you. So Illinois hosts what's called, it's kind of like it used to happen at the end of season. So I'm going to pull up the name of it real quick right now for you guys. It's called the Champaign-Urbana Kiwanis Club. It's basically a tip-off event for the upcoming basketball season, and it's a way for you can have a lot of alumni, a lot of people who contribute to the program, kind of meet the basketball team. And to my knowledge, all 14 members of the basketball team were at the event yesterday, and even past members of the basketball team, like Coleman Hawkins was there, Champaign Jr. was there. And again, this event has gone on for 101 years. It used to happen at the end of the year. Now it's gone on for 101 years, which of course they made a very big deal of last night because that's a very long time. And so Brad Underwood he kept the mood light. I'm not going to lie. We've had basically some people in my Discord who are also at the event yesterday, and news was dropped by Brad. 95% of the energy at this event was very positive. They were joking around. They were laughing. But there's a part of news that dropped yesterday that was a little bit concerning to me. Now, how concerning, we'll kind of discuss later on today and maybe in a future episode. But Brad Underwood did mention that Andrej Stojakovic has a sprained knee. And obviously with practice starting in, I believe, 2 weeks, September 22nd, I believe is when practice starts, that's going to be a concern because we know Andrej is going to be playing a very key part of this basketball team. Last year for Cal, Stoyakovic averaged 17.9 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 1.2 blocks per game. Baby Peja was one of the most highly coveted transfer portal recruits this past offseason. Illinois, fended off North Carolina in a very hard-fought battle, one that kept a lot of us Illini fans on edge. And it looked like he was basically slotted into the 3 spot. If I had to guess, I think 4 of the spots in this Illini starting lineup are pretty much done. You have Colin Boswell, Mihajlo Petrovic, Peja or Baby Peja at the number 3, and then I'm not sure who's going to play 4, but obviously it's going to be Tomislav at the 5. Now, Peja, he may not have. Why do I keep calling him Peja? Andrej may not have the numbers that he's going to have last year at Cal. I don't think he's going to average 18 points for the Illini this upcoming season, but I do think that he was going to be. Him and Mihajlo were going to be the key guys who we were going to give the ball to at the end of the game. Andrej is one of those players who's not just a sound offensive player. I think he's very sound on the defensive end. And he's shown that he can play at the highest level when he played in the ACC. This could be a problem. Obviously, Illinois is already without Ty Rodgers, and I know people are always asking me for an update on that. Quite honestly, this coaching staff is not giving updates. They're just not they run a tight ship now. Okay, things were maybe a little bit different before, and you'd be able to get more leaks. Right now, that's just simply not happening. And so there are no updates, but I think it's pretty obvious with seeing him in a brace just a couple of weeks ago that this Ty Rodgers injury is going to be a long-term one. Now, I don't think this Andrej Stojakovic injury is going to be a long-term one. At least that's not the vibe that people got on Wednesday night. I believe Scott Ritchie also wrote an article about this for the News Gazette. So if you can find that article, feel free to read that as well. Someone had sent that to me. The mood was obviously very positive. People trying to get hyped for donors and alumni to get excited about this upcoming basketball season. But I felt like this was absolutely notable. Again, how much of a cause for concern? I don't know who would play the number 3 spot if Andrej was not going to be starting. What if it's we have 2 months before the season starts, so at least that's comforting. But without Andrej, you're talking about a lineup that, I wouldn't even know. You have your backcourt set, but now you're talking about both forward spots, which would kind of be up in limbo. It does make sense, not seeing Andrej in some of the videos that I've been seeing from other people in the locker room or in the workout room working out with Fletch recently. But when this injury happened, Brad didn't say. Obviously, it happened a couple weeks ago within a couple weeks, because Brad had just met with the media. And Brad is usually pretty out in the open when an injury occurs. He won't give much detail. But for example, when Ty Rodgers was injured, he mentioned it and said, hey, Ty hurt his ankle playing pickup ball back at home. And there was no mention of this Andrej injury. So this was just something I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. How much of a concern it is, I don't think as of now, hearing this news last night, I was thinking of doing a breaking news episode last night, but I was like, well, we can wait for the morning to see if I get any more information. I reached out to a couple of people and I got nothing. So I figured I'd at least relay this to you. Panic meter right now, 3 out of 10. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal. Unfortunately, the biggest part that's not ideal is we know all off season long, the team has been practicing together, but they've been practicing without one of their key contributors. And that's Mihailo Petrovic, who just got onto campus maybe a week or 2 ago. You would think that once practice is started, then you'd want the whole team to really kind of dive in and get ready for a season, which again is just going to be starting in a matter of a month or 2. But now, even with Petrovic starting, it looks like maybe there's a chance that Stojakovic is going to be out for a couple weeks when it comes to practice. And it's not ideal because this team hasn't been complete all off season long. And sure, we're not replacing as many guys on the roster as we did last year, but we are still replacing. I think we have maybe 6-7 new guys in the rotation. And even some of the guys that we're bringing back from last year, like a Jake Davis, like a Ben Hummerkaus, well, they're not going to be counted on to play some of the substantial minutes that they played last year. So a lot of the new guys are going to be counted on heavily this year. You want them to develop that chemistry on the basketball court. You want them to know the ins and outs of each other's games. You saw Stojakovic and Kylan Boswell. I think they went to Europe together about a month ago. You can see the bonding happening, and that's great. We all want to see that, but we want to see it more so on the basketball court. And it's just unfortunate that all summer long, they've been practicing without who I've already said on my show is going to be one of the key contributors to this basketball team in Petrovic. I think I'm higher on Petrovic than a lot of other Illini fans might be. I think he can arguably be our second best player, but unfortunately, who else could be our second best player? It's Andrej Stojakovic, and it looks like he might miss a couple practices himself. Now, again, I'm not reporting that. I don't know. Brad Underwood would not go any further in dispelling any sort of information. So this is just hypothetical. But yeah, I just wanted to break that news for you guys all. Andrej Stojakovic was announced as he's got a sprained knee. We don't know how it happened. We just know that it was announced on Wednesday night at the Kiwanis Club, which is an annual kickoff for Illini basketball. I'll get to some of your thoughts right after this. All right. A couple short comments. Appreciate Lumpy Larry says, made it in for the start of a live. Thank you. TM says, there goes the season. No, I don't think it's that bad, because I think if it was a serious injury, we would have heard about it. But I do think it's an injury. And, it's just my concern is just the cohesion and the chemistry at the early part of the season, because I want this team practicing as much as they can. They never got the chance with Mihailo, and now that Mihailo's back, it looks like Andrej might be out for a couple weeks. Hopefully, not much longer than that. But it's not one of those there goes the season moments for me. Tim also says the loss of Ty does not move the needle. Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree. Jason says, I came in late to this. What's the known injury? Sprained knee. That's all we know. Brad Underwood said that Andrej has a sprained knee. Beyond that, hopefully the next time he gets together with media, some of the people there are going to be able to pick at that a little bit more and try to get some more information. But if I know Brad the way I think I know Brad Underwood, he's like, yeah, he hurt himself doing this and that, and basically just full stop there. He's not going to give much more information beyond that. And William Cash, thanks for tuning in, says, bring on Keaton Wagler. I mean, we may not have a choice. Hopefully, obviously Keaton, I've talked about him on the show. There's a lot of hype around that freshman. But I think it's already a lot to count on him as one of your main guys in your 8-man rotation. If you're all of a sudden boosting him to be a starter, I think you're kind of setting yourself up for disappointment. And I think that's just unfair to a freshman. Like, let him ease into Big Ten play as the second guy off the bench, maybe the third guy off the bench. If all of a sudden he's going to be the starter at the small forward spot, then, well, we also get weaker in the backcourt, because I can see a 3-man rotation between Boswell, Petrovic, and Wagler. But also, I just don't know if Wagler's game is ready as an 18-year-old to be a starter on what we all want this Illini team to be, and that's a championship caliber. Olympia says, I think he slipped. Yeah, Larry says, I think he might have slipped hanging out in Greece. As I mentioned, he was in Europe earlier. Obviously, we don't know what exactly happened. Maybe Brad will tell us. Maybe he won't. But either way, make sure you hit the like button on this video. As soon as I get more information, I promise you I'll come back. I'll let you know on a future episode. I just thought this was newsworthy enough. I hope you all enjoy your Thursday morning. And I'll see you on Friday, where we're going to talk a little bit more Duke. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.